Okay, now we're good to go. All right. I know there were so many coaches that wanted to be on this and wanted to be able to watch it. So I wanted to for sure make sure that we recorded because we've got some awesome speakers going to be sharing with us a couple of their top tips tonight. So before we get started, I do want to share a couple of celebrations. I want to hear if you guys have any celebrations. I want to kind of open it up to you guys if you have any to share. And then a couple of dates of things coming up that you might want to add on your calendar. So the first thing I wanted to point out was we have a couple of ladies that have a couple of Success Club points already for this month. So I noticed, I looked real quickly, so if I missed anybody, definitely let me know. But I saw that Elena and Nikki both have 2 points already. So they've helped at least one person in it's the 7th in 1 week. So that is awesome. So congratulations, you guys, for starting out strong in the month. A second celebration, I don't know if you guys have paid attention to our new coaches at all, but they are kicking some major booty. Like we have so many coming out posts, so many people that took on the posting challenge. So if you don't know, I asked them, I gave them like a 21-day schedule. And, it has 3 post ideas, and I have loved seeing those coming through in my news feed. It's been so cool to see that and their excitement. So if you're not in that group, you're definitely welcome to be in it. It's called, I've just been searching Tribe Camp, and they're all hashtagging, or they're starting to hashtag. Thanks for reminding them, Elena. They're hashtagging #Tribe Camp. So if you go and look for that hashtag, you'll be able to see a lot of their posts. And so you can definitely go shower them with lots of love and just support and things like that. Tonight they were officially kind of making their coming out post tonight or tomorrow. So I know that's scary. It was funny because Zach was kind of scrolling on Facebook and he was like, "Whoa, check out this girl." I go, "Yeah, she's one of our coaches on our team." And he's like, "Her pictures are crazy," because he knew her in middle school. And I was like, "That's right. I'm very proud." So that's really cool to see that excitement for sure. Okay, a couple of dates. The first one is April 8th. I don't know if you guys are planning on going to a Super Saturday, but there is one in St. Louis. I don't know, I haven't officially heard this come out, but if you're closer to the Kansas City area, I heard that Carl Deichler is going to the Kansas City one. I haven't heard that officially yet though. But I'm going to be going to the St. Louis one. I know Elena was heading to the St. Louis one. So if you are interested in going to a Super Saturday, definitely let me know. And we will find one close to you, or we can, go to Super Saturday, meet you there. We're making a weekend of it and going to a Cardinal game the night before. So I'm very excited about that. The second one is, I know a lot of you guys have challenge groups. You're planning 3rd week or 4th week of this month. So make sure that you're starting to, and this is more preaching to myself also, but make sure that you're putting those challenge group promotions out. I meant to put one out tonight and it didn't happen. So tomorrow night, it's happening tomorrow night for sure. So any other celebrations that you guys have, cool things happening in your challenge groups, cool things happening with your teams, personal successes, anything like that? Let's open it up for just a minute or two. If anybody has anything they want to share. Yeah, Ashley, we can definitely look that up. I know there's something on Beachbody's website where they have all of the different Super Saturdays and where they are. So we'll look that up for sure. Okay, anything you guys want to share? You guys just excited to get started? Yeah, go for it, Trisha.
I got 2 points today. So.
Yay! That's awesome. I know there were a lot of things coming through this week that just haven't shown up yet in my online office. So that's awesome. Okay. My wait time makes people nervous, I feel like, but I love celebrating. So, okay, so I wanted to kind of open up and hopefully Courtney Harden, you're okay with starting us off, but I asked each of these coaches to just kind of share 3 of kind of their top tips, the things that they know that they do that kind of gets them to that Success Club or gets them to helping, 2 to 3 new people every month. And so I wanted to kind of open it up because these guys have run their businesses differently. They run it similarly to me, but it's always fun to hear different perspectives. So, Courtney, I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor. And if you want to take it away, go ahead.
Hey, everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so for February, if we're specifically talking about February, I need to first give a huge shout out to Elena because she was our Team Cup leader, and she really, I mean, honestly, was one of the main reasons that I hit Success Club in February is because she kept pushing our team to do our best. And I think she kind of made us accountable for writing out all 50, had all of us hit 50 people and messaging and inviting 50 people to our groups. And so I really made a point of it to, talk to all 50 of those people. That was my goal for February. So that alone was one of the main reasons for February, was just Elena was amazing as a leader. So that being said, just finding someone that you can be accountable with your list is a really great idea. I know Rebecca Pund and I kind of are success partners, and we try to send each other our weekly goals and our lists, and so we try to hit those. So that's one of my main tips, is just finding someone that you can stay accountable to that inviting list to, and writing out that list really, really helped me. And I did that a little before, I dabbled in it, but I never really wrote out all 50 until Elena made us. But I really think that helped me a lot. So also Elena tagged me in this video that I watched in February, that this girl came home and she was a teacher, and she really hit on the power hour. She came home, she sat down, she looked at her posts from the day, and all she did was message the girls that liked her post. Say, hey, thanks for liking my post. I have noticed this and this that you've done. So I really think, and I think Megan, maybe you posted about something along the lines of this the other day, but posting or talking to them about something personal, something occupational, before you even touch on Beachbody at all has really helped me in February to just really slowing down that conversation. I know I heard that a million times in my first year of coaching, but it really does hold true. I mean, if you talk to them about their personal life, a quote that I've been using, or a sentence that I've been using a lot in February and now March, is walk me through a day in your life, because I've had a lot of people lately talk about how, I just don't know if I can find time to work out. So I asked them, walk me through a typical day in your life so that I can find time for them, find the extra 30 minutes during lunch, or, if they can get up in the morning, but whatever. So that's I really kind of hit on their personal life before I even talk about anything that I do. And so after the personal, occupational, or whatever, I incorporate how health and fitness can be incorporated into their life. So how they can turn that meal plan into something at work, and how they can incorporate fitness in the morning or in the evenings or during lunch or whatever. And then the last tip that really helped me in February was getting out of my comfort zone and posting personal stuff about myself. I mean, I posted 2 really great posts. I mean, they weren't even that great. They weren't lengthy. They were just a couple paragraphs. And one was about how I thought I wanted to look back in high school. And one was me in a swimsuit, and said, I'm willing to do this in February. Are you? So I think just posting really personal stuff about your journey and how you got there, really, that part really helped for me. So, I mean, I had a couple people reaching out just because of those posts. So, I guess those are my three. Actually, writing down the list of 50 and, going through and marking off that you've talked to each person, slowing down the conversation and bringing their day-to-day life into how they can incorporate health and fitness, and then making sure you're posting the raw stuff that people can connect to. So those are my three.
I love that. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So Trisha, I'm going to have you go next, but first, make sure you have something to write down on. I completely forgot to tell you guys to have paper to write notes. Like, you have no idea how much I have learned from calls like this. And I remember being in a call that Bonnie Engel did, and I seriously wrote down 3 pages of notes and then used that as like my posting Bible. Like, that's what I went back to all the time. One takeaway for sure that I got from you, Courtney, before we move on to Trisha, was the walk me through a day in your life, and then finding how fitness can fit into their life. I think that is awesome. And I don't know what more shows, hey, I want to help you and I want to help you figure this out, not for me, but for you, than saying, hey, you can do this at this time of day, or, you can have these kind of meals. I know you like this. Let's switch it around a little bit and make it this way. Like, thank you for sharing that, because I think that is huge in our conversations for sure. So awesome job. Okay, Miss Trisha, you are up. Go ahead and take yourself off mute and share, please.
All right. So I really have started to push myself a little bit outside of my comfort zone finally in the past month or two, and have seen the benefits of that now too. So some of my things that I've just in February really started to do more and made a difference for me were following up with people that maybe I talked to. For me, I started coaching last spring. So I had people that I talked to back in April, May, that I just kind of let fall off because they said no. So going back and really following up with those people, I've started to keep a notebook with a list now so that I don't forget about those people. But some of my new challengers from last month were just people that I followed up with. And I know I was so nervous sending them those messages because I had already asked them and they didn't end up following through. So I was super nervous, and I had 2 of them that were like, thank you so much for checking back with me. So don't be nervous about checking back in. It was like a big takeaway from me last month. My second tip is to connect with the people that like your page and like your posts. And I know that other people have said that before too, but just sending those personal messages to new likes on my page or new people that are commenting on my things, I'm making sure to build a relationship. And I usually start with something from their Facebook page, like, one of them was, I see your kids in your cover photo. They're so cute. Are all those kids yours? She had like 4 kids. So I was just checking in who they were, and we talked about the kids and ended up having good conversation and going from there. So find something on their page to talk about first. And then the last tip is just don't be afraid. I think I was afraid for a long time, and I still am some days, but I'm trying more and more not to be afraid. And I now have success stories like following up that tell me, don't be afraid. Go out and message those people and talk to them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, for sure. I love the follow-up. I was also afraid to follow up. It probably took me 3 months into coaching, 4 months to actually reach back out to someone. And I remember Shauna, it was like one of the last days of the month, and I was like, I'm going to hit Success Club. And she's like, have you followed up yet? And I was like, what's this? What do you mean? And she goes, those people that told you no, why don't you check back in with them? Or the people that kind of fell off the face of the earth, why don't you check in with them? And I was like, what do I say? what do I say to them? And she was like, just ask them how they're doing. And I was like, okay, all right. We naturally overcomplicate everything, it seems like. So I love that you shared that for sure. Okay. Miss Hecker, why don't you go ahead and go next, Courtney?
All right. So I kind of started something new in February. I've always been trying to like get organized, but Megan knows I tend to like to overcomplicate things and make it harder than what it is. So I just went back. I know. So I just decided to go back to my Power Hours sheet that I created when I first started coaching. And I told Megan the other day, I looked back and I think my last one I did was like back in June before I started in February. I literally have no clue what I've been doing like the last 8 months. So I went back to that, and this sheet has really helped me track everything and kind of see a pattern. So on my sheet, I have, like similar to our weekly activities, to add new friends, invite new people to my Facebook page. I have saved new recipes. I try and save 2 new recipes, 2 new Pinterest, kind of motivational tips. I save cocktail ideas because I do cocktails with Courtney, reach out to 2 to 3 new people, follow-ups, likes from yesterday's post, and new likes on pages. Sorry, I know that's a lot. But I kind of have been seeing a pattern from like starting from the top. Okay, so I add friends to my Facebook page. And then maybe the next day or so, I add them as a friend. Then I add them to my Facebook page. And then those people tend to be my new likes on my post, or the new likes on my page, the new likes on posts. And those tend to be the new people I reach out to. Then those 2 people tend to fall into my follow-up column. So I was telling Megan I was kind of like going from my binder from Power Hour to Power Hour from like the last week. And I just kept seeing a pattern of people falling into different categories. And I kind of had a rough February. I literally had 0 points until the very last week, like probably the last 5 days, and then came out somehow with 11. So I was kind of getting a little discouraged in February, had some rough weeks with work, but I just try to keep pushing through and being consistent with my Power Hours sheet. And then also that weekly activities Megan printed off for us. Last week, I kind of made this like my Bible and made sure I would check in every column. So those 2 things have been my go-to sheets. I've been kind of slacking already this week, and it's Tuesday. But I also have 2 calendars that I print off, one for my challenge group and then one for my Facebook post. And I notice if I want to get 3 posts in every day, like Saturday or Sunday before the week starts, I need to sit down and I need to fill in ideas. I'm just someone under pressure. I'm like, oh my gosh, I get behind at work. I don't have time to make a post. So if I have ideas written down, that's like my go-to. Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. I can find something in my phone or something that I've been saving on Pinterest, and that's usually like my go-to at the last minute. So those 4 sheets there have really helped me. Power Hour, weekly activities, and then 2 calendar sheets to just kind of track things. I'm a very visual person, so if it's on paper, that helps me out. Something else different that I kind of switched up this month, I used to make really, really long lists, probably of like 100 people that I needed to reach out to that liked something, that was a follow-up. But instead of doing like 2 or 3 people a day, I would do like 70 people in one day, and then I couldn't keep track of them. And then I wasn't really having meaningful conversations. And if they ever showed the slight bit of like not interested, I'd be like, okay, well, I have to forget them because I have to chat back to these 10 people I was talking to. And I just didn't feel very genuine myself about that. So the last couple of weeks, I've really tried to slow down conversations and talk to like 2 or 3 people at a time. If I have a couple more follow-ups, talk to them, but like, talk to them about those personal things, their occupations, and kind of gain some trust with them. And I feel like that's helped me in my conversations quite a bit. So I think that was most of mine, just kind of going back to basics and getting it back into a groove with things. And then just also a shout out to one of my coaches. She is starting, this is like my first coach to start her own challenge group in March. So I'm super, super excited. She's been having all these conversations with ladies and asking me questions. And she's always like, I'm so sorry I'm asking you so many questions. And I'm like, I love it. I'm just so excited. So shout out to her as well. And I think that's pretty much it. Sorry if I talked really fast.
Okay, who is that? Who's running her own challenge group? I know who it is, but so everybody knows who it is.
Meyer, she's one of my coaches that's running her own group, and she kind of had like a coming out post a couple of weeks ago, and over like 170 people liked this post. And then she had a post about a new challenge group, and so she's been having a lot of conversations with ladies and chatting about that.
I love that. I love that. I think this idea of helping 3 people each month, if you think that that's hard, it's going to be really hard. But if you go into the month thinking, I'm going to do this, I can totally do this. I'm going to be consistent each day. I'm going to keep track of who I'm talking to. I'm going to genuinely become interested in them and wanting to help them, you know, because I look at a lot of the people on here and like I formed a friendship, or at least got to know these people before, and now we get to hang out each week. Like, that's cool. It's worth it to take the time at the beginning to make those relationships meaningful, for sure. Okay. There's one little takeaway I was going to share for sure. I like the idea of you saying that you're seeing that trend of women kind of moving from one stage to a next. That is really cool for sure. And I like that. I know you like to see it. So that's probably helping you go, okay, this step is helping because they're moving from here to here. And this step is helping because it's moving from here to here. You know what I mean by that? Like,
I know there's some days where I'm like, oh, I don't need to do this part or this part. But then you realize like all those vital things that are either on your power hour or weekly activities, like all of those play a big piece of the puzzle for it all to come. So that's kind of what I see.
I like that for sure. All right. So we are going to wrap up then with Miss Elena. So if you want to go ahead and take it away, Elena, and share your top tips, please.
All righty. So I think I wrote down 3 or 4 things that I do. I've kind of gotten in the rhythm of trying to do every month. And I really started this strong in December because I knew December would set me up for the new year and get me going in a certain pattern of hitting at least Success Club 10 every month, because I have some pretty big goals that I want to hit this year, especially in this first 6 months before this next baby is born, so that my family can be in a little bit more of a better financial place. But I started in December, and I've kind of kept up with this, going through all of my messages, and I wrote out a list. I always set the goal of at least 50, but it ends up being more like 70 to 100. And for me, it's hard for me to reach out to people, a lot of people on a daily basis. So I do kind of like what Courtney said she was doing, but it doesn't bother me so much to do it this way. I normally reach out on the weekends to 30 to 40 people. And I'll just do that. I try to do it on Saturday and Sunday mornings, and I try to do it early so that people are more likely to respond because they haven't started their days yet. They might still be home having breakfast with their family or things like that. I try to catch them before they go about their day, so they're more likely to respond. And I do that every weekend without fail. I go through, I try to do some follow-ups on my follow-up list. I reach out to new people that like my page, because normally Friday evening or Saturday morning, I will go through all the people I've added as friends on Facebook throughout the week and invite them to like my page. And then as those people start to trickle in Saturday and Sunday morning, I will just thank them for liking my page and just let them know that I'm always willing to take advice on things that they'd like to see me share more about. And then I just ask them if they're currently working toward any health goals. Pretty simple, 3 to 4 sentences, keep it at that. Another thing I do is I go through, I normally try to boost at least 1 post a week, even if it's just for $3 or $5, just to try to get new people or get new interest from people that maybe have followed my page but don't really like my posts that much. and I'll just go through on the weekends and thank them for liking that post, especially if it was something more vulnerable, ask them if that's something they've dealt with before, this and that. Like this past weekend, I reached out, I boosted a post on me feeling confident enough to wear a somewhat more sexy shirt with the one that had the cutout in the back. And because I got like, I want to say like over 100 or close to 100 likes on that for boosting it. And so I just reached out to newer people that weren't already challengers or my mom and just kind of thanking them. And I've had a lot of good conversations going. Another one I boosted was a post of me saying that I was choosing to go have breakfast with my daughter one morning instead of rushing to try and like get caught up on dishes before I had to get out the door in the morning. And I've had a lot of great conversations with that. I'm trying to like post or boost things that are kind of like I wait until the week after they've been out there for a week and see if they've already gotten good traction, then I'll boost it because I know that that's hitting my target market. And I'll boost it that next week so it's already been out there for a little while so people might re-see it or see it again and like decide to like it or comment on it and things like that. But I reach out to those people just to thank them, and I don't even bring up health goals with those. I just thank them for supporting me in this journey, and then if conversation goes to that, it does. I like doing that because if people are seeing that we're recognizing them supporting us, I've noticed those people are more likely to respond than just new random people or people that just maybe like, I don't know, a different post or like a giveaway or something like that we do on our page. So that really helps. And I think the biggest thing that helps me is making personal development happen every day. And I've been trying to keep up with the national wake-up calls every week and listening to a lot more coach stories because I think that helps me see the bigger picture and realize how much I don't want to get hung up on any one person. And it gives me like a confidence boost that might sound heartless, but I've kind of started taking my emotions out of everything I do in coaching and just knowing where I am now and where I want to be and not letting anything get in the way. Not even, it sounds bad, but not even personal life stuff. Like, because I know from listening to all these national wake-up calls, the possibility and the potential that this business can bring me and my family. And so I'm just like going for it, like full on charging. And I think that helps me in my conversations too, because if I see that it's not really going anywhere, I'm like, yeah, I'll just put you on my follow-up list. Like I don't get hung up on it. And I don't know, it just helps me because I have my goals that I have every month and I'm like, I'm going to hit it no matter what. It's a non-negotiable for me. And if I have to get down to the last 3 hours of that last day pushing to get those last few points to hit my goals, then that's what I'm going to do. I don't give up until March 1st or April 1st or whatever hits. So I'd say those are probably my biggest things. And then also kind of what Courtney said, I just make sure, Courtney Harden that is, I just try to make sure my posts are really on point, especially leading up to a challenge group promo post or a coaching promo. I try to kind of like, I don't know, I think of it in sporting terms, like set up for that alley-oop and then bring in the slam dunk with my post to try to kind of like build up momentum to it. So I might post something more vulnerable that's going to get a lot more attention from people or things like that to kind of help. But yeah, that's kind of a lot of what I do and what I've kind of gotten in the pattern the last couple months of doing. And I want to say my list for this month, because I went all the way back, and anyone that's ever responded to me, I wrote their name down, even if they just said, okay. Because I'm like, well, they answered me. So I have a pretty lofty list of follow-ups, but I'm trying to tackle those little by little, trying to hit the more natural follow-ups first, and then I'll go back to some others. But doing that along with keeping up with my new likes and people that like certain posts of mine. Just try to hit those goals. So we'll see.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Elena. Thank you guys for sharing. A couple of takeaways. Elena, I don't think that it's crazy when you mentioned that you don't have emotions attached to this business or outcome. And I know you have emotions attached to the business, but I think, I took that as like the outcome of someone's response is not tied to your feelings or emotions. So if someone says no, or if someone says, I think that's too expensive, or if someone questions what you're doing, you don't allow that to affect you anymore. And I think that's super smart. I think that is something that I've been trying to develop also into this. I had a conversation tonight on the phone with someone who was interested in coaching, and it didn't go so well. And I was kind of like, that stunk. But I presented the opportunity. It isn't the right time for her right now. I totally understand. She's got a lot going on. And we have to remember that that's not a reflection on us. That's a reflection on what they have in their life right now, or whether they're ready for it and those types of things. So you have to just keep in mind that it's not always about you and what you're doing. It's more about what they have going on in their life right now. They don't quite see the value now. Now, they might see it 3 months from now, or 6 months from now, or a year from now, when they're in a more stable place, or they feel like they've got their feet under them, or whatever it might be. So I love that. Excellent tips. Alrighty. So thank you guys so much for sharing your guys' heart and sharing your tips with us. I think there were definitely some trends. I noticed that each of you all keep track of a list of names. So each of you all write down names. I know several of you guys talked about tracking your daily activities and what it is. And from listening to your daily activities, they're all pretty much the same. And so you probably will hear this often, but a lot of people will say, this business is very simple, but it's also very hard. And it's hard as in staying consistent is difficult. But the activities we do is pretty easy. We get to talk to people. We get to share our own journeys. And once you get over those hurdles of this is scary and this is terrifying me, once you get over those hurdles of taking those first actions, then it all just kind of flows a little bit more. So anyways, thank you guys so much for being on tonight. I definitely have this recorded, and I will be posting it. I'll try to put it on tonight and then try to get it posted in our team for sure by tomorrow. And Elena will message me if I don't and say, hey, do you have this? Let me go to take a look at the chat and see if there was any other questions. Yeah, I love that, Ashley. Definitely. Sometimes it just takes a couple of months for us to figure out and jump in. Oh, goodness. And then talks about swimsuits. Okay. So anyways, thank you guys so much for being on. I hope you guys have a good rest. I haven't seen that belly in a little while, so I like seeing it. That's awesome. All right. I'm going to stop.
Wait until you see it next month.